All right, guys, we're moving on to day 3 quarterbacks, trying to find that late round gem. And usually with quarterbacks, it's hard because quarterbacks get so scrutinized. If they have upper level talent, they usually kind of get exposed as such during their college careers in the draft process and get high draft grades. But we got to try. And we're going to start with Malik Cunningham, Louisville Cardinal. I don't think he was the immediate replacement for Lamar Jackson, but he wasn't too long after Lamar because he's been there a while. 24 years old, 6 feet tall, 192 pounds, 31 and 3/8 inch arms, 9.5 inch hands. This guy, it makes sense that he was kind of the heir to Lamar Jackson in Louisville because he plays similarly 4.5, 340, 1.5, 110 yard split, so really nice acceleration. 40 times good. It's certainly not up there with Lamar, but he was able to do similar things. About half the big boards I looked at had him going undrafted. Some had him going in the 6th or 7th. But the smaller big boards actually like him quite a bit. They boosted him up to about the 5th. But again, that's very fluid, and I have a feeling this guy's going to end up being somebody who goes in the 5th round if he's lucky. Over the last 2 years, he's been fairly productive, although 2022 was a down year for him. He only played in 10 games, less than 1,600 yards passing, and less than 600 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Not 62% completion. The year before is kind of the year he wants to hang his hat on. He had almost 3,000 yards passing and over 1,000 yards rushing, and I think he had like 20 rushing touchdowns and 19 passing touchdowns, with only 6 interceptions too. So much better year in 2021. Look, there's some stuff here that's fun. He's a fantastic athlete. Like the 40 time is only part of the picture here. He's a really good athlete. He's explosive. He has good change of direction. He accelerates fast. He's very elusive in the open field. When he gets outside the pocket, he's deadly. Not just on the ground, by the way, through the air. He can roll out and find guys when he gets to make a half-field read because he's rolling out to like his right. He started a ton of games in college. I think he was like a 4-year starter for Louisville, so a lot of experience. But he has the shortcomings you would kind of expect a quarterback like this to have. He's not accurate, very inaccurate, misses a lot of open throws. You leave him in the pocket, he's going to struggle. He's not really very good from the pocket. He doesn't read defenses very well. He doesn't throw with anticipation. He benefits tremendously when the field gets cut in half because he's rolling out. I think that's something that he's going to have to do constantly in the NFL if he makes it at all. His throwing motion looks really like painful. It's like he puts his hand above his head. It's weird. Like he's like trying to like throw something at like his kid or something and he wants the kid to catch it. Like he's throwing a, I don't know, a beach ball at a toddler. I don't know. It's just really awkward looking. So basically he succeeded at college football purely because of his athletic ability and what he can do with his legs. And it's probably not going to work nearly as well in the NFL. I mean, he's elusive, but a 4.5, 340, that's not Lamar Jackson level. Like, he's not going to be able to outrun everybody like Lamar Jackson does. So, Malik Cunningham, what I will say, you could maybe draft him and then move him to wide receiver. And then he could be your Antoine Randall L or Drew Bennett, trick play dude. That would be fun. That could work. And his athletic ability is enough to make me think, get him in the 5th round and start running trick plays with him. But otherwise, no, not really. Not seeing a whole heck of a lot here. Not going to work in the NFL. Okay, now we have Aiden O'Connell of the Purdue Boilermakers, 24-year-old, 6'3", 213 pounds, decent size, 32.25-inch arms, 9 3/4-inch hands. Big boards generally liked him. Sports Illustrated even had him in round 4. There's some round 5, round 6, round 7 here. The aggregate currently has him in the 5th round. So O'Connell is somebody who's expected to be drafted. And it makes sense given his production at Purdue. Over the last 2 years, he's given you a full slate of games and given you well over 7,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, 24 picks, completion percentage. It was a lot better in 2021 than 2022. Productive passer. He's a guy who's really good from the pocket. He can run a pro-style offense based on timing. That was something he did in college. He's not going to have a problem adjusting to a timing-style offense in the NFL. He's somebody who can put good touch on his passes, throws an easily catchable ball. His mentals are on lockdown. He has a good understanding of how to run an NFL offense, how to understand coverages, how to use his eyes to fool defenders. He's very accurate and pinpoint with his balls. And you let him just kind of distribute the ball around like a point guard at the line of scrimmage. Just get the ball into hands of playmakers. He's going to do really good. But the shortcomings make themselves obvious very quickly with Aiden O'Connell. His arm is very weak. He does not have the arm to push the ball downfield. He does not have the arm to zip it into a tight window. He does not have the arm to make the really difficult throws. He doesn't really do much of anything with his legs. He has negative 200 rushing yards over the last 2 years. Obviously, that's from sacks. I understand it's greatly exaggerated, but he doesn't do anything with his legs. If he gets pressured, he's done. It's done. Like, if he gets pressured, he may as well just fall down. He doesn't improvise. He has no improvisational skills in his skill set. And he does turn it over too much for a guy who is supposed to be smart and accurate. 24 interceptions. He averages an interception a game. And that doesn't need to be happening. So he's kind of a classic example of a quarterback who, look, if he goes to play with Kyle Shanahan, yeah, that's going to work. If he linked up with Kyle Shanahan, he could probably do what Brock Purdy does. Just distribute the ball. Don't push it. Don't take risks. Just be accurate. Keep it simple. And he can do well. But in any other situation where he actually has to make plays, he has to win games, he has to do a bunch of stuff, it's not going to happen. So just doesn't bring enough to the table for me. I look at Aiden O'Connell and I see a guy who will always be a backup in the NFL at best, unless he finds that Shanahan type situation where everything is just easy mode. So because he's a backup only quarterback, I wouldn't take him until the 7th. I think the 7th sounds about right to me. He's good enough, accurate enough, has enough positive traits to be worth it there, but no more. Okay, next guy, last guy in this video is going to be Jaren Hall of the BYU Cougars, and this is a guy who I actually think has a little bit of upside. Maybe a little bit more than, maybe I think he has a little bit more than he actually does. Me and the Hawks Nest disagreed a little bit on this guy, but I actually like this guy. 25 years old. So, you know, all these BYU players, they're always going to be on the older side. It just is what it is. 6 feet tall, 207 pounds, 29 3/4 inch arms, 9.5 inch hands. Draft Network liked him enough to put him in the 5th. ESPN has him in the 6th. A couple other big boards have him in the 7th. They're not getting drafted. The Aggregate has him in the 5th. So Jaren Hall is a guy who is getting some positive attention going into this draft. He had a nice 2022 season, over almost 3,200 passing yards and 350 rushing yards, 31 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 66% completion. He took obvious steps forward from 2021 to 2022. He's progressing as a player. There's some stuff here that you really like. And I think his arm is pretty good. I'm not going to say, I mean, I wrote great here. That's probably, I'm grading him on a curve. But he has a better arm than I expected, given how small he is and where he is considered in the draft. I like his arm. I think he can make tough throws. I think he can throw it deep. I think he can zip it in a little bit. It's certainly not the Will Levis arm, but it is a good arm that I think will hold up a little bit better than some of these guys. He can put touch on the ball. He can put velocity on the ball. He's accurate when he's on the move. He's somebody who can break the pocket and go off script and still make a throw. He does things when he's under pressure. He's good at feeling the rush in the pocket and extending the play. He's a good athlete. And he's somebody who can take off and run as a matter of a scripted play or an off-script play. And he's got high character. He's a high character guy at BYU. Now, the main problem I have with Jaren Hall, some people are going to say the arm, because I think there's some disagreement here about Jaren Hall's arm. I like it well enough for a guy in this area of the draft. Problem with Jaren Hall is that he's small and he's already gotten injured a few times in his career. So how is he going to hold up in the NFL? It's the Bryce Young problem. Now, Jaren Hall's a good deal bigger than Bryce Young, but he's still small, and I think he's going to get beat up. Sometimes he holds onto the ball too long. I think sometimes he tries a little too hard to make a play and ends up making a big negative play, Russell Wilson style. His decision making is okay, but it needs work, and that's a little annoying when he's already 25 years old. Like, this is not somebody who's ready to go. But overall, Jaren Hall was one of my favorite day 3 quarterbacks. He's got some upside. If the Seahawks wanted a third quarterback but don't want to spend an early pick on one, this is one of the guys I would gravitate towards. I wouldn't mind him in round 4. I know a lot of people are going to say that's sacrilegious, but I like him. I saw him make some good throws out there that make me think he has an arm. A little bit of an arm. It's not a great arm, but it's a good enough arm to at least make most of the NFL throws. And he's got mobility, he's got playmaking, he's got character, he's got a dual threat stuff going on. I don't know. This is kind of like my immunity idol. I just like him quarterback this year. Okay, so those were some day 3 prospects. Let me know what you think of them. Let me know if you think I'm seeing something that isn't there with Jaren Hall, because the Hawks Nest definitely did, and I know a couple others do. So more quarterbacks coming later today. See you guys soon, and go Hawks.